you gonna give it a shot?
What?
Are you gonna give it a shot?
What?
Bonjour.
Bonjour?
Terrible. I can say bonsoir.
So that?
Bonsoir. C'est bon?
That's much later.
Yeah. It's bien, right? Bien, not bad name. Bon.
Ben name.
Someone told us last night to say bon. Like if you're having food, it's bon, not bien. It's like, how is the steak? We're like, bien. We're like, no, it's bon. Hi guys, good morning. Good? Any first timers?
Really? Did you guys get lost?
See some FB shirts?
So we can recycle some old jokes. Never mind. Krista's here. Sorry.
I
feel like...
I know. What did y'all think of Scooby-Dooby? We've been fighting because it was kind of well received. We've been fighting to cross over with every animated show, and that's sort of like it's a multi-pronged attack on our part because A, it means we get to finish an episode in like 3 days instead of 8, and B, it's just fun. Like we got to watch it in the Dolby Theater, which was kind of bizarre because the Oscars were there 1 week, and then a week and a half later it was us, like Scooby-Doo. Very, very cool episode. Glad y'all liked it. I can't figure this.
We should do a Simpsons crossover. Because I'm pretty sure they have almost as many episodes as we do.
The only longer running show.
Yeah.
Super. Speaking of which, we had big news this week.
Yeah.
We have to work longer. Yeah. He's like, what happened?
What?
Monday, we had the official pickup, so thank you guys so much. We get to explore these characters more and have a lot of fun. We are now officially less than 2 weeks away from the end of season 13.
That's right.
No, it's great. It means we're coming back. Get back to work. Texans.
This just means everything's starting to amp up and get really intense.
Yeah. SHIT is about to hit the fan.
Yeah. What did we just shoot?
We just shot day one of.
That's right. We did day one of episode 23
on Friday.
And then we'll go back and finish up doing 22 because they had to flip-flop because there's some scheduling issues. But yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot of people involved. Not me.
By the way, first time in Montreal. Who's local here? Awesome city. I've heard about it for years and years and years, and just never made it out here. I've always been like, can we do Montreal? Can we go to Montreal? Unfortunately, we came straight from set basically on Friday night.
Yeah, we were hoping to have like an extra day or two to spend here, but because it is the end of the season, everything's ramping up. The work schedule is kind of intense. So, but whatever. I'll take a half a day here.
Yeah, better than not a half a day here.
That's right. Yeah.
Merci.
I say you're welcome.
Durian, the rain.
What?
Mercy, the rain. Durian. It sounds like the rain.
Durian?
Durian. Durian. I get very liberal with my French accent. I don't speak French very well at all. It sounds like merci. Durian.
This is Jared asking for directions to the concierge yesterday. Hey, we're thinking about maybe hitting and then are there any other things that that we should see while we're in
So we have some crewmen and women who
I thought I was choking.
We have some members of our crew who are from Montreal, and those who also kind of speak Montreal. Yeah, so people were like, "Oh, have fun this weekend in Montreal." And I was like, "No, we're going to Montreal." Yes, have fun in Montreal. I was like, "What are you saying to me? Like, I don't understand."
What is? So I was like, "How do you say Montreal?" No, and then our sound guy Don Ben Show. He was like, just don't say it like that. just do us all a favor and don't say it at all. Just.
I think we also realized, so Serge, our longtime wonderful cinematographer.
That is so.
He's from Montreal, and he still has like a very French Quebecois accent in his English. So what made us kind of chuckle is you'll go to the concierge, say hi, or whatever, the receptionist, and they're like, hi, how's it going? You're like, oh, it's wonderful, just a little tired. Okay, here's your room, what's your name? And then someone will come from the back like, like perfect French and then perfect English. Like, what just happened? I think Sarah's just playing it up. He probably speaks perfect English. He just is pretending to be.
Doesn't want to listen to us, so he pretends he doesn't.
He doesn't want us to engage, so he uses an accent.
But what throws us off is like somebody will be speaking, perfect North American accent, English, and then they'll pronounce the names of streets or things in perfect French, which then I'm like, wait, what was that? It's, it's, what was it? So basically what you want to do, you want to go down, you're going to make a left on South Street. I'm going to need you to write that down. Oh, Saint Supplice. Got it.
Yeah. Anyways, before we I could talk about this accent.
I feel like an idiot. Yeah.
Let's get to some questions for Chaz. Wait, I see. Yes. With the phone too. That was a quick.
In the Toronto convention in October, and we didn't get to ask your questions, so I'm so happy to be able to talk
Awesome.
to you.
That was quick. You were poised.
Oh yeah. I you have no idea. So now I'm so nervous. We love you guys. Like, love you. My question is for both of you. If you had the opportunity to go back in time, or Sam and Dean had the opportunity to go back in time and talk to, say, a 12 and a 16-year-old Sam and Dean, what advice would you give them?
Sheesh. Don't fall for Ruby's tricks, I guess. Just team. That's a great question.
No, as your character, not as Jared.
She got me fingered. That's a great question. What's been fun about this show specifically is that what Jared thought about Sam in 2005 is very different than what he thought about Sam in 2006, and very different in 2018. So I've kind of grown and learned, and I say this to people a lot who are about to become parents, and I'm like, oh, congratulations, I got 3. I'm like, what? Like, any advice? And I'm like, no, man. Honestly, there's nothing I can tell you that will make a difference. Just try and enjoy it as it goes, because I can't. I'm one of these believers that I love to read, but the only real way to learn, figure it out, is to experience and to do and to try, fail, and succeed every now and again. So I would just say, go with the flow. Your brother's got your back. Get his back.
Probably use more grease on the doors.
Just hinges.
Yeah, they're always a little creaky. Yeah, Dean's got to handle that. I don't know why he has that. Full disclosure, it doesn't sound like that. That's a sound effect that they put in post, and I'm like, why do they keep doing that? It makes it look like Dean doesn't care about. It's like not taking care of it. Thank you. Yes, some clout.
So we've had a lot of flashback episodes with younger Sam and Dean. And I was just wondering if you guys could choose an episode to do like that, what would you want to see with younger Sam and Dean, from their past?
Wow.
I'd like to see. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of how they learned what they know from their father. I think that would have been, the life lessons that John taught them at a young age, I think would have been something really cool to have seen.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been fun to see actually I was thinking about that, it would have been fun to see some of the initial ones. Like when I was just watching, it was just an episode, I don't remember the episode, but it was on TNT or TBS in the States, or whatever, airing on. And it was a show that flashed back and it showed young Sam trying to be a part of the hunt and saying he can shoot now, he can do this and that. And Dean is like, yeah, maybe Dad will let you. And Dean calls to say, hey, Dad won't let you. I don't remember the episode.
Yeah,
yes! I just watched it because yes, whoever, yes. I love the episode. We were talking to Richard. I do love the episode. Anyways, I'd like to see some of the initial ones where Dad and Dean start, letting Sam come along and help. And selfishly, I'd like to see how Sam can learn to do what he's good at doing. You stay over here, please. Yes. See, we. Yeah.
I was wondering after.
Buongiorno.
I was actually curious to prepare for media and press events.
Lots of moves.
Do you feel a lot of pressure? Does the network just like, here's what we want you to say and don't spoil the Dean?
I think it's more, thank you for your question, that's an interesting question. I think it's more, for me, what comes from the studio and the network is more not what to say, but what not to say. They never tell you what to say because you don't know what the questions are going to be. They're like, hey, just don't mention that, or that Dean. So you're not allowed, they call them DNRs, which stands for do not reveal. So you'll get a list of DNRs, like don't say this because it hasn't aired yet. Don't say that because we haven't admitted this yet.
Which is funny because Jared reads ahead. Like as soon as the script breaks, he'll read it. It messes me up. Like so I don't read the script until I'm done with, until we're about to film it. So there could be 3 to 5 scripts available to read, but I won't read them until it's time to film them because it just like chronologically in my head. I'll read, if I read ahead, it's like, oh, well, I assume that's happening this episode. It just whatever.
And I know this about him, and not like. We'll have the AD come up and be like, okay, so Jensen, in the next episode, you know how you have that fight and you're gonna blah, 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 and you get thrown through a wall.
And I'm like, yeah.
And he's like, yeah, and I'll be there. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So
the fight thing where I get through the wall. Yeah.
The wall thing, yeah.
What about it? What do you need me? What
okay, so we need to know, do you want knee pads for that day?
No, I'm good.
Okay, great. And then he'll look at me and be like, what are they talking about?
So what happened? What are we? But what's funny is when we get these do not reveals, I'll come up to him and be like, dude, Rowena's back. Did you know that? They should just not give them to me. And then everything would be fine.
Yes, exactly.
Because
I wouldn't know anyway. You wouldn't have anything to reveal anyway.
No. But it's usually, we know not to give anything away that hasn't been aired, generally speaking.
But we also don't know what's been aired or not. Like we didn't, on Thursday morning, I was like, what are we showing tonight?
Right. So anyway, yeah, for getting ready for those kind of red carpet things, or like, Comic-Con or Paley Fest or something like that, it's, we know we're going to be saying a lot of the same thing over and over and over, because it's a whole row of reporters, and they all have, similar questions. So that's kind of the hardest thing, is repeating yourself, but trying to do it in a fresh way with, not so you don't sound like a robot.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's nerve-wracking because you also sometimes never know. Sorry.
Let her sit down.
Oh, yes, you may sit. It's super nerve-wracking. I feel very, I'd rather film for a month than do a day of interviews. Like, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to prepare, so you just sort of, I hope I don't mess up anything. Yeah, I'd much rather film. Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Is there someone on set who like finds local things at the place where Sam and Dean are to find them? Because they got the stuffies right, but that was not a crab cake. Sorry, a clam cake. That was a crab cake.
Oh yeah, we were in Rhode Island.
Yes.
We weren't in Naranga set.
We have a crack team of specialists.
They were very excited. They texted me like, oh my God,
it's Stuffies! I didn't know what Stuffy was until that day. Still don't. What is it?
Stuffed quahog, which is like a stuffed clam.
Stuffed quahog?
Quahog like Family Guy.
All right, poor guy. It depends on what department it's, you know, that was props, because basically anything that an actor handles is a prop. So that would be their department, so the prop master would then do the due diligence and try to figure out what they're talking about in the script.
And script-wise, I think the writers do try to make it feel a bit
local and authentic, yeah.
Yeah.
And also our production designer Jerry Wannick, he's got an amazing team of people that dive into that kind of stuff too, and try to get an authentic feel for that. Because I mean, we shoot only in Vancouver, but it's supposed to look like a million different places. So to get that kind of feel, that is heavily on the shoulders of our production team.
As a matter of fact, we even an episode with the killer truck. It's called Killer Truck. What was it called?
Route 666.
Route 666. It was supposed to be like. It was supposed to take place in like Missouri in October, and then we had the day, and it just
Mississippi.
It was supposed to be Mississippi. It was supposed to be, it actually was written, and when we were filming it, it took place in Missouri, but when it snowed, they were like, well, we have to change and say it's in Mississippi now, or whatever it ended up being.
No.
Yes.
It was in Mississippi. It doesn't snow in Mississippi.
Right. So they changed it
we had to move it to Mississippi.
Yes, whatever it was. So they'll change it, because they're like,
I didn't get any sleep last night either.
It hadn't snowed in like 120 years. Like, oh, we have to change the location then before it hits the air. So.
You should come and try some stuff.
Some
How
stuffed
dare you?
hogs.
You watch your mouth. I saw. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
We know that you film so many weeks out of a year, and you both have families and are from Texas.
Yes.
Jensen, I know that you have the brewery now and everything. What other things are you guys involved in? Charity work, volunteer work, and how do you manage being in Vancouver, your family's in Texas, plus you have all these other things going on? I have my family. I work 9 hours out of a day, and I have troubles with my daughters. Like, I want to be with them more. I want to do more with them. So how the hell do you manage it?
We don't.
And, your lives must be extraordinary. I live in Saskatchewan. It's lots of like people who work in the oil fields. I have friends where their husbands are gone 21 days straight, and they work 12, 15 hours a day. They come home, they're exhausted, and they're very disconnected now. A lot of them divorce and separate. And how? I'm really encouraging here. I just want to know, how do you manage when, simple folk who are home all the time have troubles?
Well, I mean, we're simple folk too, and it is largely in part to our wives and how they, because they allow us to work away from home so much, but in doing so, they've had to take on a lot of responsibility. I mean, they both, 3 kids each, and it's, I was talking to Danielle yesterday, and she was like, it's just been really hard today. I've had, nobody's been here. It's been me and all 3 of them, and it's just, one's not feeling well, the other one's upset because it's not getting attention, whatever it might be. And he and I are at a brewery going.
I love beer.
It is. It's not ideal, but it is normal, and it is just what.
And it's temporary. It's temporary.
And that's another thing too, is we know that this isn't going to be forever. Yeah, of course we thought that 10 years ago. But we know things are going to change, and so we know it's not forever, and it's just one of these things that we're like, you know what, just buckle down and do this while we have this amazing opportunity, and we'll figure it out. The hardest part is coming back and plugging ourselves in on the weekend, because they've essentially been single mothers all week, and they've been, running the house, and they've had to be both parents basically.
And they have a routine.
and they have a routine, and then all of a sudden...
We come in with like candy!
Yeah.
Come on, kids!
And then their fourth child shows up and throws off their routine, and it's, so that took a little bit of adjustment. There's like a little time period of adjusting back to each other on the weekend. But it's, again, it's our normal. It's what we do, and we figure out a way to make it work because we're invested and we want to make it work.
Yeah, I agree. First and foremost, we have people around us who care both about us and just care about our families, we care about our jobs. So beyond what he just said about our wives, and then when we're in Vancouver, our crews, or when we're here in Montreal, great staff creation, make sure everything's kind of dialed in. It takes, there's kind of a juxtaposition to being an actor, and I see this a lot with artists, especially. You're forced to have, this is going to sound like a very laser-like focus. Like when they call action, you have to be there, present in the moment, or everything sucks, and you have to go again. So I think we've taken that approach to our family time, our friend time, our when we're on set, yeah, blah, 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 we're joking around, we're kind of laughing, goofing around. They call action, we're focused, like we're there in the moment. And you have to take the same approach to parenting, I think. And I've had many parents who have to work away from, with their business people or drivers or travelers or whatever. They mentioned, especially at this age with kids, they're like, they're not going to know if you're gone for a day or 10 days. As long as when you're with them, you're focused. You're not reading your script. You're not flipping through the channels on the news. You're there with them, and you have really quality time with them. And so there will be times where we'll have a long weekend because it's Labor Day or whatever it is, and they'll add on a day off, so we'll have a 4-day weekend. And I love the guy, I love his family, but sometimes we'll fly home, and then it'll be a Friday, and then on Monday we'll fly back, and he's like, hey, how was your weekend? I'm like, oh yeah, we haven't even chatted in 4 days. Like, great, what'd you do? Because we're not texting, we're not looking around, we're just with our families. Like, it's been a while, and it's, hey, let's go. And sometimes our families are, they're hanging out, like last night, we get a call, and like JJ and Shep were playing guitar and dancing in the house, and hanging out. Yeah, it was great, but I think it just takes a pretty devoted kind of attention and focus.
Because we don't have quantity, we make it quality.
You have to.
Hi.
I want to ask you about the first time you met each other when you knew you were casted together, and was there first impression that you took about each other and did it last or not? Either it's good or bad.
I think I knew when I ultimately found out that I was going to, because they told me like it wasn't going to be. So I looked to see what he had done, and I was like, I thought to myself, we're bound to it. We had mutual friends, and I was like, no, unsurprisingly, you're in casting rooms a lot with other guys who kind of are white 20-year-olds, whatever it is. And so I kind of knew, I was like, I wonder if I have friends, specifically, and I didn't know, I was like, I wonder if we met. And we met, and I was like, oh, he's a cute little guy. Let's see if they can act. No, it was kind of funny. It's really, there's a funny thing about Los Angeles where, we were also auditioning. I think he and I had more important things on our minds, as opposed to like, hey, let's make a new friendship. It was like, hey, we got to get this job. Like, we love this script. We've met the writers, we know the director, love the characters, and you're trying to, pay your rent. First and foremost, you had jobs to do. And so I think it kind of, there wasn't like a forced friendship where it was like, hey, I'm going to go blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, we're going to watch a Cowboy game too. Let's watch the Cowboy game together. Blah, blah, blah too. So it was kind of more organic. Of course, it was just had a lot of confidence.
Yeah, he was already there. He was already seated in the waiting room, sitting by himself when I walked in. And I walked in, there's half a dozen at least different guys there, especially for that. And I remember I walked in and I saw him, and I think you had like a hoodie on. I had like this like floppy-haired kid sitting there, and I was like, you better not be reading for Dean because I'm going to mop the floor with him.
luckily for him, I was sick of playing Dean.
Yeah. He was already playing Dean, little to my knowledge, because who watched Gilmore Girls? So I went over and I signed in, and I went and I sat across from him, and I was like, hey man, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And it was just kind of, idle pleasantries back and forth. And I remember I was like, so you read for Sam or Dean? Vote for Sam. I'm like, okay. Well, he just dodged a bullet. And I was like, okay, I'm going for Dean. I was like, are there other people in there already? Or he's like, no, I hadn't seen anybody else. The first person that's walked through, I was like, that's kind of strange, right? He's like, I was thinking the same thing. And right about that time, the casting director came out. He's like, okay, Jared, Jensen, you guys come on back. He's like, together? And then they brought us back in. This is very, I'd never experienced. I'd probably been to, maybe not 100, but a lot of auditions at this time in my life. And I'd never been in this situation where it was just one guy for one role and one guy for the other role, and they're bringing us back together. So we were kind of, both scratching our heads, and we're like, what is happening now? And then we walked in the room, and there's like 30 suits sitting there who are about to judge your life. And he and I just we didn't rehearse it, we didn't run the lines, we didn't do anything. We just went right into doing a scene together, and it just, it was like instantaneous, it just kind of flew off the page. It was super easy, he and I were, it would be like meeting somebody and finishing their sentences immediately. So then they asked us to leave the room, and I was like, nice, man. That was. I was like, where are you from again? He's like, Texas, and I was like, I'm like, we might get this.
That must be.
Also, there's no one else here. If we don't get this, we suck. We should rethink our lives.
That was probably the most important 10, 15 minutes of Supernatural was whether or not it worked. They didn't like one of them both of us. I like things working around that. It's funny because these auditions become so, it's like you drive to work, whatever you do for a living, drive to school, or to walk around the neighborhood with your dog. It just becomes habit. I remember I had a friend one time over, and she was just kind of getting into the business. She was a friend of a friend. And I had a stack of scripts. And I just bought a house and trying to give them a tour. And I had a stack of 30 or 40 scripts. And she looks and she's like, oh my God, those are your auditions? And I was like, come here, honey. And I walked downstairs in my garage, and I had literally file boxes, of thousands, probably 1,000 scripts. I was like, those are all my auditions. At the time I was on Gilmore Girls, and I've done a few movies and this and that. And I was considered successful enough in my own right. I was like, no. It's not like I booked 5 of 40 auditions. I booked 5 of 500 auditions. So kind of get this, you get really used to know. So
just think about that. Think about all of those producers that passed on this. Who's left now? All right, guys, we gotta roll. We're gonna get this day started. The band. I love you guys.
Take it easy. On a serious note, they are pulling us. So love y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Okay, we'll see you later. Bye.